Hi, everyone. Welcome to this lovely book casual with the amazing author and creatrix, Julie
Ooh.
Cuccia-Watts.
That's your shirt. I like it.
She is all that.
Here.
And I'm glad everybody finally knows that.
Mm-hmm.
She's also responsible for blowing people's minds.
Ain't that the truth?
So, and Julie, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for having me.
Apparently, I don't know how to dress today. Sorry.
Okay.
Here we go.
Do you need a minute?
No, I'm fine. I can't get the.
Let's
You
just
know how the.
get herself.
Yeah.
So say hi, Jamie.
Hi.
Jamie. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. So we're talking to Julie Cuccia-Watts about this book, the Real Sky Astrology Tarot Workbook. This is a supplement to the Real Sky Astrology Tarot, which looks like this. Here's the back. And since we've been working through it, this is, here you go. There's that. And all of the links to these amazing resources are in the description. And y'all know what I'm going to say.
Shop responsibly.
Know your limits. Purchase responsibly. Purchase. You know.
Yeah, we're not here to sell something. We're here to blow your mind.
Blow minds. Yes.
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 But if you purchase that, it'd be really cool because this is an independent creator and it helps.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Okay.
Purchase responsibly.
Purchase responsibly. You know, as we say with our tiny hands. I love it. But and so also I mean, because Jamie and I had a back and forth with Jamie and Gerald, a catch up, and Jamie was sharing that her brain was exploded when she first heard about Real Sky Astrology, and Julie joined us for that. That's also linked below.
Because I was mad at her. That's why.
Were you really mad at her? Or were you just expressing yourself?
You were mad at me like I was mad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
First place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I already know that.
Yeah.
Yes. And you also, you are doing some conversations with Patrick of the Living Wheel on Instagram. And Patrick doesn't know, but I've linked his Instagram and those lives below because this is all about sharing incredible information.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and Patrick asks different questions on a much more not, I don't want to say intellectual level, but of somebody that has a lot of knowledge already. So the way he delves into stuff is completely different than what you and I have done, Gerald, you know?
Yeah.
Which I like because I get both sides then. And I get to monopolize her brain even more because I have her in two places, which is fantastic.
And you know, Julie, we're going to be heaping praise in your general direction through most of this. So are you okay with that?
Try to take it.
Okay. All right. And so let's say hi to the best chatters and Lisa, Mysterious Mystical Moments.
Hi, Jamie here.
Yeah, Jamie's here too. Jaime. Stephen, Cosmic Orphan. Kristen is here.
Hi.
White Wolf Mother. Do I need to time this guy out?
I don't know, 300 seconds maybe.
Oh, well, give him a break for a little while, and then
we'll see how he does. Everybody, we're joking. This is Peter J. Watts, who was on the first book casual with us.
And we adore him.
Yes, we adore him. And he's also a creator. So Shadow King 431, hello. Pia's Life is here. Hello. Vanessa S is here. And Tarot Whisperers. Tarot Whispers. That just sounds kind of nice. Tarot Whispers.
We were doing that earlier.
We were Plucky. Okay, Plucky Heroine.
Hi.
Meruta. And I'm not late. White Wolf Mother, you are not late. That is correct. Fleck is here. Hello. And see. Jaime. By the way, yeah, we're just giving a hard time. And a lot of these best chatters were in my live earlier today for Tarot the Stash Way about color, and mind blowing. I took so many notes during that. I mean,
isn't that great?
People are incredible. So thank you all. Okay, so I think that's everybody. So this book, this workbook, is 8.5 by 11, pretty much. Oh, here, you know, all that stuff. And and bless you. It is spiral bound.
Yeah, I mean, everything's spiral bound from now on.
Yeah.
So I mean, and so it lays flat.
Yes.
It's great. It is 159 pages of jam-packed information that we think is mind-blowing, and totally worth it to work through. On page 157, it does include a glossary. I love me a glossary. Love me a glossary. Hypnicity is here. Hello. And it's in color.
Oh yeah, it's pretty rad.
So, and that's one thing. You don't need the deck to be able to use the workbook. However, you do have readings in here, tarot spreads that use the deck specifically.
Well, and there are points in time in the reading, like we've only done the first 35 pages, but there are points like on the sun where you can lay different cards next to each other. And while I have been lazy and I haven't gotten the deck out because it's been sitting in front of me wrapped in the silk and everything, it's been there, but I've just kind of flipped back and forth to the pages. So that's doable, but it is nice to have it to where you can lay the cards out and look at them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so, okay.
Yes. Do you need a sip?
I do. I'm going to have a sip because there's so, I mean, I'm freakishly excited, people.
Yeah.
So Julie, for those of you who don't know, how did this book and deck come to be?
Well, and up until 2009, I'd been a tarot card creator. I had been doing Western astrology since the early 80s and would have done charts for people, except Apple computers didn't have an application where you could create charts. It was a Windows only kind of thing.
Right.
So being an artist, I kind of just didn't have a PC, so I had an Apple. And then I couldn't do charts for people, even though I tried doing all kinds of things to just get the application to work. So I ended up just doing tarot, and not doing astrology charts for people. Then I had been doing Western astrology all the whole time up until 2009, when I went to Egypt for my second time with Robert Bauval, who gave us a lecture on the stars and temples and the alignments to the stars. And he did a whole thing where he set up a computer and showed us what the sky looked like when we were born, and let us know that Western astrology was rubbish. And I had all of my work based on Western astrology, and I felt, like, what? And then, I couldn't deny what I was seeing on the computer. And then he kind of put me on the spot because I was the resident astrologer and said, why do astrologers use an old sky? And I said, wow, yeah, I think they know they do that. And he goes, no, they don't. And I was confounded, and
Didn't he proceed to kind of embarrass you though?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally embarrassed me. And I ended up just leaving the lecture just because I just didn't want to answer any more questions and feel like, the stupid fool in the middle of the room. So after a day of not speaking to him on the tour, he took me aside and he said, the real sky works. And so, it haunted me. And I thought, I don't have to do another deck. I don't have to do anything over. And kept telling myself that until 3 months later when there was an eclipse in July of 2009. And I had a complete download of all the paintings in Journey into Egypt. And I went, oh, I guess I'm doing another deck. And so I decided to just, tweak Mahat into being a real sky deck. And that was my intention. But it ended up turning into this multi-layered mythic historical figure thing based on real sky. And it really wasn't an astrology, the astrology that I thought it would be. And it really became something else. And so after Journey into Egypt was out and about, and I still felt like I needed to write an astrology book. And for 10 years, I sat on it thinking I should write this astrology book, but I don't know really how to go about doing that. And then I had a dream about the scarab being pushing the sun across the sky like a chariot. And I went, oh my goodness, because I'd never associated this Cancer with a chariot. I could never understand that. And then I thought, maybe I need to relook at that. And then I thought, oh my gosh, it's a tarot deck. It's another tarot deck based on this real sky astrology. And that was a way for me to frame it and have a structure so that I could write this book.
Gotcha.
And I had precessed my chart and, did the precession with my chart because I knew all of the planets were in the same houses. It was just clicking back a little bit into the next sign to do, this real sky stuff. And when I started working on it, I really started to see the astrological signs linking up with the gods of Egypt. And it didn't take much to see that all of the male gods are on one side of the sky and all the female gods are on the other side of the sky, just like Geb and Nut. You can see, but you can't see because it's too big. And that started to speak to me. And so I just went with it and started creating these cards. And
would you agree with that?
I'd say that Julie's first divination love is astrology.
Astrology got me through a lot of hard times in my life, and it meant something to me. And I think about where the moon is in the night sky and what phase it's in, and I do the daily reading every day just to get a handle on what's happening out there, what's happening out there in the world. And I do it for everyone, but I do it for me too.
Well, and I mean, so I feel like I need to show people, flip through and show people how this is laid out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Can I give a disclaimer while you get to the first page?
Yes, please.
Just so you know, the three of us are in agreement in that we are not saying that there's anything wrong with Western astrology. We're not saying there's anything wrong with sidereal, however they say it, any of that. That's not it. This is mind expanding for Gerald and I, something that has been life shaping for Julie. So we're not saying that anything is bad. You do you.
Right.
Yes.
Right. If this insults your intelligence, feel free to just not listen, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
But I've been doing the old stuff a long time, and this feels better to me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have a table of contents, and what you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff. What you can see is because Jaime and I, you see the circles and the sections. That is how we are studying this. So Jaime and I are actually once a week getting together and talking about those sections of this book. So, like next up, we are doing the moon. So it's pages 36 through 41. So that's what we're talking about. Hashtag overachiever, whatever. But
I
so
wish I had you guys when I was writing it. It would have been helpful.
How what?
I wish I had you guys around when I was writing it, because it would have been helpful, to help explain, like, how can I present this in a way that's, easy to digest.
Yeah, I'm the one that sat down and kind of went through knowing the two of us and how both of our brains work, as to what would work best for us, kind of thing. Yeah, so it's broken up very nicely. I just had to break up the zodiac, that was all, and then the moon signs, but you just do that, you know what I mean?
It's basically 19 sessions of us getting together. I mean, so, and who knows, maybe we will, have Julie back as more people find out about it.
And hell, we've already had almost 19 sessions talking about it, just as an aside. So,
and in the preface, you do talk about why Real Sky. You also give us an introduction, which talks about basically the history of astronomy and astrology. Fascinating, quite interesting. You also talk about the age of Pisces and the shift to the age of Aquarius, and that those are, I'm not giving it all away, people. If you want it, you have to. Then we also have the science around it. Science, yes, yes. And so, I mean, this is one of those things that I was trying to understand this chart. And I was like going, man, what I need like those styrofoam balls.
Yeah.
With a dowel rod, so that I can actually rotate it. And of course, Jamie's helping Julie, and she's like going, well, you have balloons and paper mache. It's like, oh, geez. So, but I have not done that. But you talk about.
Didn't you see it? These
visual
beautiful
aids. We need visual aids.
Yes, he can
Nice,
totally do it.
like a kaleidoscope that goes across the wall. Make it move, make it dance.
Come on, Gerald, get with it.
Yeah, and just
like on the earth.
There you go. Ooh. But so that's helpful. And then you talk about the houses in relation to the ages.
Yeah. Well, here's what I didn't know for sure when I wrote this book. Like, do the houses change as the ages change? And I wasn't sure about that. And so wasn't sure if, like, the first house would still relate to the body, if the second house would still relate to money. I wasn't sure about that. And as I'm working with my oracle deck, which is about the houses, it was all inspired by Real Sky Astrology Tarot and this book, I realized that the houses still mean the same things, because basically because the 12th house is always going to be the age. So whatever constellation is in that 12th house at the equinox, the hour before sunrise, where the Sphinx's eyes are gazing, that constellation is the age. And And that will always stay the same. Therefore, all of the other houses will always relate to the body, money, communication,
Good
home,
to know.
children, love affairs, at health, partnerships, legacies, education, career, other
Okay.
people, and then back to connection to the cosmos, connection to a God or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, that problem has been solved in my mind. And I needed that deep dive into that one chapter and created, the new oracle.
Well, and the new oracle, which you've just finished the images, has only 432 cards. There's
Only.
36 cards for each of the 12 houses.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. They'll be available. But in the book, in the workbook, you take us through the houses of the age of Aquarius, the houses in the age of Pisces, according to Western astrology, the houses of the age of Aquarius. And then this is where it's interesting is the life on the cusp of a new age. So houses on the cusp of Pisces and Aquarius.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And that's really where we are. I mean, I really feel we are in the age of Aquarius, but yet we are still feeling it Pisces because we're on that cusp. And so we have both ages happening at the same time, which is why right now is so confusing. And so push me, pull me. It's like the storms of spring. One day it's really warm and the next day you get a blizzard. It's this. We're having that happening in the world right now. And it's good to understand what's really going on. Eventually, the age of Pisces will be over and we'll be clearly in the age of Aquarius. But here's the catch with the age of Aquarius is that you have to know. And there is no more believing because you can't believe what the authorities say. You've got to know for yourself. And because, right now we're going through this all of our authority, the scam websites and the traps and, the exclusive groups and all of that is still happening. But soon it will, once we get 500 years into the age of Aquarius, you're not going to have any of that left. And that will all come to pass. That will all be in the past.
Yeah. I want to get caught up on chat. And Cosmic Orphan said, got the High Priestess of the real sky here and now. So Stephen has that. And Peter said, we did a workshop together and I used a laser pointer and gigantic globe to show precession.
That's cool.
So, and do you have that video uploaded, Peter? I mean,
You don't have that tape.
I have actually linked is it to 2000 and there's your your bats.
Yeah, my 45-minute presentation about Journey into Egypt.
Yeah, so I have that. And White Wolf Mother said, "Oh, this book and deck goes on my wish list. Do they come together or separate?" They're separate because, and Peter has put the newmoontradingco.com, and you can get them from there. Cards are from Printer's Studio, and the book is from Lulu. Know your limits, purchase responsibly. I'll put that down now.
They're independently published.
Yeah. And so Plucky Heroine said, confirming that the attributes of the houses remain the same, yet the context and order changes.
Signs change. So the signs, when the signs change, this it sort of flavors the definition of what that means. So in the age of Aquarius, I have my thing up here right now to give you everything. It slips back. So Pisces is in the first house. And Aries is in the second house, I believe. I don't have my
That is correct. That's the Aquarius. That's
Okay.
each of Aquarius. Pisces is in house 1, 2 is Aries, 3 is Taurus, Gemini, Cancer.
Right. So physical body is aligned with Pisces, which is about special social groups, and your physical body belongs to a special social group. And like the money is Aries, so it's kind of invisible, and it isn't money per se, but it might just be like, uh, you know how money is no longer gold, it's just numbers on a spreadsheet. So it's kind of a tally sheet. It's kind of invisible,
Yeah.
subliminal. But there's also this, you are your wealth, or your wealth is happening right now. Who you are is how much money you have, and your physical body. I am my physical body is what's happening like now, and I think that will shift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Then,
all this stuff that's happening, and it really shows up in the symbolism.
yes.
Yeah.
And I would say that it's important, that's one of the things that I have marked. I have the houses and I have the glyphs, symbols, because I want to go back and be able to reference that easily. So Jamie is the overachiever. She has more little tabs than I do. And so the references are there. Then you take how to convert your Western chart to real sky.
Yes.
And the thing for me is the conversion took me more time than I expected it to.
Same.
Partially because I was trying to figure out how to use the app correctly.
Sure.
The Go Sky Watch. However, that being said, once I figured it out, I was helping Jamie. It was like, oh yeah, there you go, and it's like that, and it's like, oh okay. So it's the learning curve. So Plucky Heroine said, thank you for the clarification.
Sure.
And Aries Girl Tarot is here. And she's very excited. This is Allison. She's very excited about this concept. It's like, so I'm looking at my notes.
If I'm smiling ridiculously, it's because the parrot is out there and she's talking and she's saying all the things that I've wanted to hear from her. I'm in here.
Yeah.
What's
Look,
that?
Mom. She's trying to get your attention. Look,
Yeah.
Mom, I'm talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kid
She's asking me
running
to come here. Yeah.
Stephen, Cosmic Orphan says, I use Stellarium and Sky Safari Plus. Will they work?
Yeah, I believe so, as long as they're set up for astronomy and not astrology.
Yeah. Sky Safari Plus is what I use. So I have also the Go Watch, Go Sky, whatever the hell that's called. But yeah, I use both of them.
Yeah, I have ephemeris as well. So if you need to have a chart, you can do a sidereal chart, which is different from tropical. Tropical is the one that's aligned to the 0 degrees of Aries at spring. And sidereal is just a little bit different because they have the perfect 30 degrees. And I kind of watched what the actual constellation is. So, it's whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
If you're on the cusp, you're going to get attributes from both signs anyway. And I kind of feel like it's more like colors blending than a straight line dividing.
Yeah.
Then go ahead, Jamie.
I was just going to say that, doing the Western chart, that was really easy because Gerald and I use the same tarot journal, and that's part of the journal. So I already had all of that stuff. So I just had to, move it over. But I also had to read because you have specific instructions. You ask us to do things a certain way. And it's like, I want to see it all. I don't want to do it your way.
Well, I thought I'd do it slowly so that you don't get
Oh, yeah.
overwhelmed.
Thank you.
Start with your
Yep,
sun.
because what happens is your chart turns into a mess if you tried to do all the things. So it was just a matter of actually reading what you're requesting instead of just slapping it all down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I did a chart for Ginger. I processed her chart. It was Ginger. And what I did is I just had a chart printed, a Western chart. And then I did two, I cut out two. And then I just cut the outside out, like just the little ring, and just turned it back. And then you could, I
You're
lined
speaking
up
his language. Look at that.
Crafts are involved.
crafts because then you have your signs, and you can just get your sun lined up, and then everything else should be lined up with whatever the sign is. It should line up properly because the moon phase is going to stay the same, and
So I'm thinking back to grade school where you made the little wheels that you could turn the things, and it had the little brad in the middle that would, kind of fold it in the back so that you could turn.
I did that with my moon signs book when I had Mahat, because it was all about moon signs, and people didn't know what their phases were. And to figure out what your phases were, there was a little thing on the back where you could cut it out, and then you could put that graphic on the back, and then you cut out the
now
circle.
I have to do crafts. I have to figure that crap out. Oh my gosh, Julie. Ugh.
That's a love. Ugh.
Yeah, moon phases are important because they really are like the moon. Where the moon was always more important even than where the sun was.
I like the analytical because the apps are great and stuff, but if I could actually, if I'm surprised I didn't think of that to begin with, but to actually have it in front of me to be able to shift it would make me happier because I like that, tangible stuff. Yeah.
Real.
Mm-hmm.
So need visual aids. I need visual aids to see it.
Yeah. One thing that I forgot to mention is what do you need to use to work with this? Pencils and a good eraser. And a pencil sharpener or a mechanical pencil.
Right.
And the one thing that I noticed is the watermark is really close to graphite. So I have to
pencil.
I could do colored pencil. Yes, I hadn't thought of that. Great. And I have colored pencils right over there. So I could do that. But what I did is when it came to doing the chart, I actually took a picture of it and printed it out so that I was able to write on it.
Yeah,
so
that's a good idea.
This is all of my real Sky, my
that's
stuff.
A great idea.
So
I know some people don't want to write in their book. I just can't write.
No. Oh no. This thing is gonna be a chunk.
Yeah, right.
And it's gonna have so many notes when I'm done. No, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I have notes. I have paper clips in it. I have all sorts of things. Jamie, anything about the tools that you need?
No, I mean, because you and I use the same things. I'm a lover of pencil. The only thing that I did with my houses is that I couldn't read the pencil with the background, so I went over it in pen and then used my gum eraser to take the pencil out. So colored pencil is a great tip. I don't know why neither one of us thought about it, but by God, we're going to do it now.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm being called out. That is not a good eraser. You have to get a white eraser that leaves no residue. Yes, I know, but this is the eraser that I have.
Yeah, I have an artist's white gum eraser that's fantastic.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, those are good.
Yes, the workbook is intended to be written in, and what's helpful about that is there is a lot of space to write in.
Very much so.
It is set up. It is set up for you to be able to write, and there are prompting questions, things to help you.
And to go back to, so if you are like at a loss, which he and I have been in a couple of spots, when you're at a loss of like, okay, what does Julie really want here? What is the, you
can
can
always email me and ask me.
No, I know. Yeah. I know that. But you move on, and then you have this, oh, that's what she means. And then you go back because you have plenty of room. You've already put in your initial information. And then, like I told you, the information starts to coalesce. It starts to connect, right? And the little synapses fire off, and you're like, oh, okay. So there's plenty of room. Plenty
And
of room.
I guess I kind of wrote it with the idea that people already would know what a Western chart was and what astrology was. I didn't really think about like people who actually knew nothing about astrology at all. And I think you guys have an advantage for not having any preconceived notions. So
yeah, and I'm okay with that because, like I said, it makes you think about it. And honestly, when you work for something, I think it sticks. And it has a lot more connection than if I were to look at this and just bing, 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 but then there's no work involved.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean,
yeah, it does.
So.
Yeah. And Peter says, as an educator, I enjoyed editing not only the information, but also the process.
Right.
Yeah. So, are you doing okay? Are we overwhelming you, Julie?
Oh, no.
Okay. Is this boring for you?
Huh?
Are you bored?
No.
Are you bored?
No. I'm enjoying your reaction and what you were thinking. I don't know.
I want to know, Gerald. I want to know what your quote is for the world on page 17. I want to know what that is.
So once you figure out your chart, I will tell you, once you figure out your real Sky chart and you go through that process, and by the way, I'll just share, Julie, sooner or later, you're going to get a picture of this because I don't know any of the astrological symbols any of that. So I was actually writing stuff down so that I could go, okay, my sun is in Libra and it's close to Virgo. And that's part of how I operate. So, and I love it. Y'all watching Julie? She's like going, well, what does it say, Gerald? What does it say? What does it say? Yeah. And so, so I and I added things to it later, like I need the sun, the moon, and the rising, and then the ascendant and the midheaven and is it nadir?
Nadir. The nadir, the bottom, the zenith. Okay. You have the zenith at the top, and you have the nadir at the bottom. The midheaven is the zenith, and then.
And so, and that was again partially to help me go, okay, this is what I have. I also have my chart, my chart, and I have it like that. You'll notice most of my stuff is below. I have, just two things above because that's me.
Yeah.
But as do what?
A lot of things in higher education.
Yeah, well, there you go. So sorry, I got cocky there for a second.
I was going to say, are you going to fit through the door when you leave?
No, I'm going to be able to lay down right here and be able to let my head go. But then, okay, so then we start to.
Oh, sorry, I'm all over the place.
There you go.
Everywhere.
Very balanced.
Here you go, Jamie.
I'm everywhere, and of course, I'm not going to focus because my camera doesn't like
it. Being an introvert, you've got a lot there on the external world.
Yeah, I know. Weird, huh?
In the external world.
It's fascinating. I'm going to put us back because that'll help me feel. And then you start to look at the world. You go through the horoscope, so you start with the world and then the aces in the different quadrants, so to help people understand the quadrants and what they mean and how they relate.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the quote that I have on the world, because Jamie is wanting to know, it's on page 17. It's the quote is, it's in your chart, and it's at that moment you were in perfect harmony with the universe. And so the notes and insights about the world is, I was born in perfect harmony with the universe.
I was born in perfect harmony with the world. I told you.
I mean, what okay, and I mean, that makes me feel wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You're the expression of that moment.
Yeah. And so it's completely awesome. Okay, Pia's Life asks, in all honesty, is this difficult for the average person to work through? No.
I would tell you if I thought that the average person couldn't do it, because I look at Gerald and I as the average, less than knowing people, because neither one of us are astronomy, astrology, anything based. So no, it's not.
An average person, I figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Pia, what I would say is go slowly and steadily.
Yep.
Because Jamie and I were laughing about this the other day. It's just like, we could have read this workbook in just a couple of weeks, but not have done anything with it. But this is a workbook, and we wanted to do with it. So you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
And that honors me, because how many people just buy stuff and then don't ever do it?
Right.
So for you guys to actually go through it is, that's an honor to me.
Yeah.
And Pia, okay, thank you, Pia. I don't know, it's very generous of you, but Pia, I don't know if you've actually noticed the comments that you're adding into chats. You're pretty dang intelligent. So
yeah, I mean, I won't lie, it does challenge you. It challenges you to read thoroughly, don't skim. It challenges you to put the sections together, right? It challenges you to take it a step at a time and do it from a different view.
Yeah. Yeah. Pia's Life, you don't need the deck to do the workbook.
You don't.
If you want to do the spreads in the back, you'll need the deck.
Yeah. And if you're a visual person and you want to lay your planets out in their houses and you want to see how that looks, then it's kind of nice. I mean, it's a tarot deck, so you could use it like a tarot deck, but it's more like, when I did it, it was a way for me to structure it so that I could have all the pieces going in a cohesive way.
Yeah.
And, and I could lay out all these pieces that I needed to talk about.
Yeah. So I will say this. So ultimately, if you have the workbook, you don't need the deck. But I guarantee you, as you go through the workbook and you start to put the things together, you're going to want the deck, only for the simple fact that it gives you this beautiful panorama of understanding that all of a sudden everything that you've read and that you're working through, you can then intelligently lay it out and say, oh, I understand. you know? I think that's, that's a big thing to me.
Yeah. Julie, do you have anything to add? I mean, I can just keep...
And so far, you guys have only gotten to the quadrants, right? That's it. So the quadrants. And when you look at the quadrants, what they are is the zodiac, or the zodiac's horoscope, and the divisions. And, above the pie is the part that you show the world. And below the horizon is the parts that are hidden. And then the right side of the chart are the things that just happened to you. And the left side of the chart are the things you have control of. And so the quadrants are divided up in that way. So above the horizon on the left are the things that you have control of that people can see. And above the horizon on the right is the part that people can see that you don't have control of. And then below the horizon on the right, the things that are hidden that you don't have control of, that nobody sees, the thing you go through that no one sees. Below, on the left, the things that no one sees that you do have control of. And that's just kind of a flavor of what, regardless of what signs are in there, that also will add a layer eventually. But this just gives you a little bit of an overview. So when you have people who have all of their planets on the left side, and they say, well, you have to take control of your life, and you have to do, and that works for them. But if you have a person that has all of your planets on the right side, and you don't, you're like the person who has to wait for things to be right and wait for the timing, and then things will just happen. That's true for you. And there isn't one way or another. It's all the ways.
And then if you're a dumbass like me and you're all over the place.
Well, then you have some things that you have control over and some things that you don't have control over. You have to wait for,
Well, and I love how in the quarters you talk about it, Julie, because I'm thinking about this from my frame of reference, the tarot, the wheel of the year. And one of the things that I had, and I showed this to Jamie, is because I was actually looking, you were talking about the quadrants and where they fall in the year. And so I was actually writing on here and I'm looking, okay, so this is southeast, this is northeast, this is, this must be anyhow, southwest, this must be northwest. But I was like going, wait a minute, this is not making any sense. What I did was, you actually have here, this is west, this is east, that is north, or this is north, this south. So I went like this, and then Jamie was actually in the room and I went, oh, got it. Okay. So for me, I went, okay, now I can relate to this for myself, which is, I think, part of the process.
Well, and what you're looking at, this horoscope, has got directions of Egypt. Egypt's direction, the upper, and the lower is north. And that was something, that I had to really realize while I was doing Journey into Egypt, when I had Nut's head in the west. And I thought, oh my God, I painted her in the wrong. And then I realized, oh wait, it's teaching me the directions of Egypt, because Egypt has the south at the top of the compass point.
Yeah. Peter says it's the Egyptian worldview.
It is, because the south is where the zodiac or the ecliptic is. When you look, that's the south. You're seeing all of the signs in the sky. It's the south. And the north is the northern sky, which stays the same. And the delta is in the north. And that would be the worldview of Egypt. It's right there in the chart.
Yeah, a little bit of an epiphany. Thank you very much.
I know, for me too. I mean, I was just, blown away by that idea. And it solidified my belief that the horoscope came from Egypt, because this was their map. That's why I put the Nile in the middle of the horoscope to really show you the direction.
Yeah.
We should have keyed into that, Gerald, and neither one of us did.
Well, we're programmed by our own culture, and it's not.
Sorry, I think it's funny. It's funny because it's so obvious, yet both of us are like,
well, and you see it though, you can't unsee it.
Right. And which is why when I was like, this is not making any sense. This is not making any sense. And then I went like this and I went, oh, got it. So I am totally on the, I'm slow on the uptake.
And
However, I got it.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's what matters.
Right.
And so, okay, I'm going to flip through we're at 50 minutes and I want to be respectful of time. And
You have another show to do tonight, right? How many shows you can do today, Gerald?
I'm going to do 4, but if I can get a 5th one in, I will. I don't know. But because I also think about this in tarot, in this deck, the wands are air.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
And-
in this deck, the wands are fire. No, wait, no,
wands are air.
They're air. They're air. Sorry.
Okay.
Tea. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves.
Drink the mushrooms. Drink the mushrooms.
Yeah, it's like cosmic zirconies. It's like I got it. And so, and then cups are water.
Yeah.
Coins are earth. Does that mean swords are fire? Because you didn't actually say that, and I just want to make sure.
Yeah, they are.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, I was just looking through because I have been like, we're going to talk to Julie. I'm going to write all of these notes. Yes, Fleck, I agree. Thank you, Pia, for asking the right questions. Pia, that's a sign of intelligence, you asking those questions. Just saying. So, and I appreciate how, because, we were reading about the sun and the ascendants, the elder of dawn, the midheaven, the descendant, and the elder of the invisible, which is nadir. Nadir. Yes. So it's like I can't pronounce people's names and that. And I actually went on the interwebs and had YouTube pronounce it for me, and it's still not there. So, okay. Gerald speaks the truth.
He's a Libra.
I am, yeah. Well, and that's funny because one of the things that is interesting is when I was doing this, because I worked through it on my own because I did this. And then I was like going, okay, how many signs do I have? How many times do I have this sign? And there's room in the workbook to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's fascinating because I'm like going, I have a lot of Libra. I also have a lot of Leo and Gemini.
Very interesting.
Yes. And surprise.
Fits, though. It totally fits you.
Well, I think one of the things that I am looking forward to, and I'm sure we'll get to it as we work through the workbook. I don't know the powers associated with each sign, and when we work through that in them, we'll get that.
Yeah, I think that, because I know, and when you say that, I see it. I see what it really means, and I go, yeah, that's definitely Gerald. How interesting.
Okay. I love it. She has all of the information, but she's not telling anybody.
Well, I like to explore on your own and get to it yourself.
Yeah. Okay. And wait a minute. I think we should do a series and have the teacher created and go chapter by chapter. White Wolf Mother is making more work for you, Julie. However, your husband is actually suggesting perhaps someone will host an online class.
Well, I have to do a class. I'm doing a class in September in person at the Women in Spirituality Conference in Minnesota, in Rochester. So I will be doing a real Sky Astrology class. And it's supposed to be taped. So I may be able to share that.
Nice. Jamie, what do you want to show?
Oh,
Yeah,
nothing.
what's
I
up?
just think it's interesting because, you know, I've got all this stuff here and then all this stuff's here. And, you know, and it goes on. It's like, okay, I got so much stuff upper, lower, left, and right, you know, that when he's like, well, I don't have anything there, it's like, what do you mean? And then we have to read between the lines. What does that mean? Anyway,
Yeah.
we're having fun with it.
That's good.
Yeah. And yeah, because I mean, I think it's what's really interesting is when you're talking about the quadrants,
Yeah.
you are actually sharing about in your chart, and you actually go from the Piscean age, and then you actually give us what it means to be on the cusp of the Piscean age and the age of Aquarius.
Right.
And so I one of the questions that I wrote down, Julie, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer it, is when does the Aquarian age start?
Good question. I'm not sure when it started, but it has started. It's already the Aquarian age, because even if you look at an app, an hour before equinox, the spring equinox, Pisces is a couple of stars on the horizon. And Aquarius is what you see. I mean, if you were the Sphinx looking to the east, you would see Aquarius. We're already there. And I think about, you know, what are the attributes of the Aquarian age? And that is timing, spontaneity. There's a lot of knowing. And we're coming out of an age that was exclusive clubs. You had to be initiated to be part of the club. And we've come into this space where we have all of these electronic things that let us be instantly speaking to people anywhere in the world all the time. And when did that really begin? I mean, we started the telephone a century ago already. So it was already starting to happen. And, you know, so I think, you know, we're definitely already in it.
So,
and I don't know when we can pinpoint the moment we went into it, but we've been gradually going into it since probably the Industrial Revolution, and maybe even when we got rid of the divine right of kings, you know, that may have been the beginning of it.
Yeah.
But
So I have a
then,
question. I have a question. And I've already heard you answer it, but I'm going to ask anyway because I want to be a smartass.
Okay.
Why no Pluto? What do you got against Pluto? Pluto's everywhere, but no, not here.
I talk about Pluto, but I think of Pluto as, you know, it's a dwarf planet, and we have to draw a line somewhere. And I don't do the minutia in this because you don't really need it. It's a dwarf planet, and if I include Pluto, then I would have to include other dwarf planets. And where do you stop? So I'm including Neptune and Uranus, which the ancient people would not have included. Give me that.
All right, I give you that.
I do talk about Pluto as being the extremist, the planet of the extremist.
Yeah.
It's a 265-year cycle. And Pluto is back where it was during the Revolutionary War of America. The end of the divine right of kings, and we're back there again. So that has something to do with now. But I'm not going to give it that much power, you know, because it's annoying. It's the mosquito in the room, but it's not the elephant in the room.
Right.
Okay.
I just had to poke at you.
Yeah, thank you for, because
I don't mind.
Lori Kramer is here.
People are wondering that. And, you know, and Kasha will give me a hard time for not using Chiron.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, I think it's great for people who are doing charts, for individual charts for people, you know, but my work is rather general. And I do sort of all like what's happening right now for all of us. and it's not specific to individual. It's
Yeah.
broad brush. So, I'm not doing charts for so.
Right.
Yeah.
He's right, just so you know.
What?
Actually, that's two, Stephen, because you had one snort earlier, Jamie.
Oh, see, I don't even realize it. It's just.
Yeah. But okay, so we're okay. So one of the things that I was looking at is you give us an opportunity to talk after each section to talk about what planets and signs are in that area, which is extremely helpful because again, it's helping me go, okay, all of these are clumped here. What does, I'm going to know what that means when I understand what Libra means.
Right.
And that. You do in each of the things ask what notes or insights do you have. I don't have any insights yet because I don't really have a frame of reference. But what were you thinking of when you added that?
Well, it's like when you've gone through it all and you understand it better, here's what I got from this. This is my insight. I don't want to forget.
Told you we'd come back to it. Yep.
Yeah. So then you can take note of that.
Yes.
Something might jump out at you right away, but then you might forget about it. So
yeah. And there are some things that I've written it down and I'm like, well, I never thought of this that way. And, and I'm writing it down. I'm letting myself write down whatever the hell pops into my mind. There is a lot of this going on with this book. That for me is the sign of a workbook that is usable.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's workable. Yeah, you bet.
It works.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be like you're sort of teaching yourself, about yourself. And this is just a frame. It's,
and I want to be really clear with people. This is not word heavy. And that's a good thing. It's beautiful because now I go, what's that look like? Where does that fall on my chart? How does that relate to me? And that's inspiring.
I agree. I would say though that you have to reconcile yourself to the fact that when you are working through the workbook, you are not working through, you're working through cards, but you're working through yourself. And so when I'm looking and I'm reading and something is connecting with me, it's totally different for Gerald because Gerald is working through himself in relation to everything that's being said on the page. So it's kind of it's an interesting thing because you can have, I know it sounds ridiculous and I'm just going to point out the obvious. You can have 36 people in the room and we're all reading this, but it's all very specific to yourself. It's not a generalization in that way. Cause you said, you were keeping it general and all of that. I understand that, but it's very specific to who you are.
Yeah. You're in fact writing your own book.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree 100%.
Yeah. I would also say that as we look at it, because sometimes I'm like going, I don't have anything in that house. I have no planets in that. And you account for that because you actually say, if you don't have that, it gives you more of an opportunity to be flexible, or it requires that you work a little harder at being flexible or learning that aspect.
Well, the sign will be in that house. And so that will say something about what's going on there as well.
Yeah.
And
White Wolf Mother just added, does shadow work occur as well as you're doing this?
Sure. Because there are things that happen to you that no one sees. I mean, when you're below the horizon, you're doing shadow work.
Yeah. Which is, again, most of my stuff is in below. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. All of my stuff is in 4 houses. 1, 3, 5, and 9. Because that's me. Jamie has stuff not in 11 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to see the difference.
No, 11 and 3.
Oh, excuse me. I was wrong.
11 and 3. Because I'm in, that's where my, my North Node is in 7. Shadow stash.
Shadow stash. Well, and I like how you at one point called me thread stash. I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. I love that. And Peter added, White Wolf Mother, yes, the first bit of work happens when you find out you're not the sign you thought you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to learn about something, especially when you have had no connection to anything else. And then you have to learn about something else and you realize, oh, well, that's why I feel that way.
I don't give you the descriptions of regular Western astrological signs either. I'm giving you something completely different based on the symbol of the astrology, but also based on an old mythology about that symbol, or that where that source of that symbol comes from, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I really okay, well, we can finish up, and Jamie, get ready to say whatever you want, and Julie, you're happy to talk, but one of the cool things is that and I hadn't noticed this before, but I have to hide where I was born and all that stuff, but what's cool is the size of the signs around the house's size don't change. The signs, the amount of time that the signs are visible is what changes. And that's what's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Hence, we need a craft night to do wheels.
Night.
Totally. So it's fascinating. So, and White Wolf Mother said, "Oh, I can't wait to get this." Well, yeah, let us know. So
yeah, I was tracking it when I bought the workbook. I was tracking it. Okay, Gerald, what does yours say? Mine's going to be here on Friday. Damn it, mine's going to be here on Saturday. You know what I mean? It's fun.
No, White Wolf Mother, there is not a giveaway.
Sorry.
Good try though. So, Jamie, last thoughts for as we are. I hope you feel like we've been heaping praise in your general direction.
I feel very happy that you took the time to do all this.
Well, I think we haven't given you a bunch of BS either, so it hasn't been heaping praise that hasn't been warranted. You know what I mean? So, I thank you is what I really want to say. Thank you for doing the work that then lays it out for the rest of us to do the work. We are by no means anywhere close to understanding or being finished, but it's been pretty amazing and challenging in a good way.
It really was just an experiment. Like I'm just, doing an experiment, for my own curiosity, and like, what if this was, and what if we do this? What would happen? What do I see? What do you see? So far, everyone said this is absolute bullshit.
Right.
Don't say that yet. So.
Yeah.
Well, and what's fascinating is stop. Allison said bucket list, and all of the links are below if you want to dive into it. Stephen said yes, indeed. Thank you very much. And Plucky Heroine said, interesting about the houses. I have no planets, the first 4 houses in Western astrology, no air planets either. Looking forward to know how it shifts. How it all shifts. And White Wolf Mother said, I can see the future. Gerald, I am going to miss a few lives once I get mine. So, Yeah, watch both sites. They offer 10 to, yeah.
True. There are sales on the sites, so you can catch a sale.
Yeah. And it's been so good.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely getting this LOL as soon as I get my allowance.
Fair enough.
I totally get it. And Julie, anything you want to add?
I don't know. What do you want to know? And
you're going to come back with us again.
I finished the Oracle deck this week.
Yeah.
I finished all my pictures for the Oracle deck. So,
only 432 pictures.
Yeah. And now I get to start working on the book for.
Ooh.
And I think it should be a workbook as well. And
yes.
Yeah. And
yes.
Because I don't really know how I'm going to write this book yet, but I know there'll be some timeline and history and disclaimers about when astrology actually started and how this is a divination tool to look back at the past and not from the past. So,
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, if you ever want test readers, or
I will.
Let me and Jamie know.
I may want to pick your brain about the next book too, since you guys are bound to read it, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and what's cool, again, this is like I've been saying, this is exactly what I needed, because learning about astrology has been it's been number 2 when I've done readings about what I was going to focus on for the last couple of years. Actually, this is the 3rd year it's been number 2. So
it's the astrology that will pique your interest.
Oh,
and I've had Patrick's deck for years. Honestly, I have looked through it. I've never done anything with it because I've never had time. I've always been doing other things,
Well, and Patrick's deck goes really well with Real Sky. He didn't have to change a thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's incredible. So
thank you.
Yes, thank you. And perhaps we will schedule something again in August.
Sure.
Please.
We can look at that, and then everybody can hang out and see what goes, because at that point we'll probably have read like 4 or 5 more sections.
Yeah, cool. I'm anxious for you to get to the meat of your charts.
The meat.
Get to the meat.
So are we, but we got to do the foundation stuff.
Yeah, it's good because you're doing it slowly and then doing the foundation and understanding it thoroughly before you jump right in. It's good.
So, all right, everybody knows, Julia Cuccia-Watts.
Julie.
Did I say Julia again?
Yeah, you did.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Julie.
I mean, a lot of people do.
Watts. Okay. I actually was saying to Betsy and Deb, I don't want to call Julie the wrong name as I usually do, and so I did it.
It's easy. It's easy with the IA at the end of my last name, so.
So anyhow, links are below for everything, including some really great videos.
Yes.
On your channel, and I would encourage people to give that a look. So, and so hit that like button. So all that good stuff. So we will all hang out. Everybody else, take care. We will see you again soon. Bye.